Okay, so what we're looking at is section 1.4, solving linear inequalities. The easiest way I could tell you how to do this is to tell you that you just treat the inequalities exact same way as you do equations. The only thing is that if you ever multiply or divide by a negative number, you gotta switch the direction of the inequality sign. So let's check this out. The first problem says 4x plus 3 is less than or equal to negative 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and subtract 3, and I get 4x is less than or equal to negative 9. And then I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by 4. Now since I divided both sides by 4, I don't have to change the direction of my inequality sign. So I have x is less than or equal to negative 9 fourths. Now there's a couple ways you can write this. You can write this as x such that x is less than or equal to negative 9 fourths. That is called set builder notation. You could write it as interval notation and just say that it goes from infinity all the way, negative infinity all the way to negative 9 fourths. And then you could actually graph it. That's a common thing to do, is to graph it. Now you could graph it like here's negative 9 fourths, and you can put a solid dot like that and go this way. Some people do a bracket and go that way. Either one is going to work. It doesn't make a difference. Another one, let's solve this one. Here you add 1. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides. So I got negative 3x is less than negative 3. And then I divide both sides by negative 3. But what I do is, now that I know I'm dividing by a negative, I circle that. So now I have x is greater than 1. So x is greater than 1 on a number line would look like this. Here's 1, open circle, go that way. Okay. Set builder notation, you could do a curly bracket x such that x is greater than 1. And interval notation would just be parentheses 1 comma infinity. Okay. Next one. Here's another example. This one's a little intense, but here's what I'm going to do. I don't like that negative 6 right there, so I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 6. But since I multiplied both sides by negative 6, I'm going to circle that inequality sign to let you know that I multiplied by or divided by a negative. So I got negative 6, that's going to be greater than, that negative 6 goes away, 2x plus 5. Okay? And so now I go ahead and I subtract 5, and I subtract 5, and I get negative 11 is greater than 2x. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to divide both sides by 2 here. So I get negative 11 over 2 is greater than x. Now here's a little trick. A lot of people don't quite get this, but here's the thing. If I put the x right here, if I put the x here and I put this right here, the negative 11 over 2, all I got to do is make sure that my inequality sign, this inequality sign right here, is pointing at the smaller guy. So I just rewrote it, put the variable on the left hand side. So now what this looks like in set builder notation is x such that x is less than negative 11 over 2. Okay. In interval notation, it would be from negative infinity on down all the way to negative 11 halves, not inclusive. And on a number line, you would have negative 11 over 2 and be an open circle and it would go that way. Okay? Seems pretty simple, right? Now don't get alarmed that you have all this crazy stuff right here. The first thing I see is that I have 5 parentheses x minus 2. I see distributive property and I see that half. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to multiply everything by 2. I'm going to multiply everything, both sides of this equation, by 2. Okay? I'm going to leave the right side alone. And then what happens here is 2 times 5 is 10. And I'm going to do x minus 2 and leave that alone. Okay? And then 2 times a half, that's a 1. And leave that alone, and that's less than 2x plus 3. Now I'm going to go ahead and distribute. I get 10x minus 20 plus x plus 1 is less than or equal to 2x plus 3. Okay? So I now have 11x minus 19 is less than or equal to 2x plus 3. Now bring the smaller variable to the bigger variable, so I'm going to subtract 2x. I now get oh, I forgot a very important step. Uh-oh. Guess what I forgot to do? Guess what I forgot to do? This side's good, but this side is not. This side right here is not good, and we're going to fix that right now. What I forgot to do is I forgot to multiply this side by 2. So now I have 4x plus 6. Okay, so here's 4x plus 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to minus a 4x here, and I'm going to minus a 4x here, and that leaves me with 7x minus 19 is less than or equal to 6. I'm going to add 19 over here, and I'm going to add 19 over here, and now I get 7x is less than or equal to 25, and I divide both sides by 7. When I divide both sides by 7, I get x is less than or equal to 25 sevenths. So in set builder, that's going to be x such that x is less than or equal to 25 sevenths. Inner notation is going to be negative infinity to 25 sevenths with a solid bracket like that. And your number line was going to be 25 sevenths like that and going that way. Okay? Sorry about that mistake. All right, the next one, this one here, you could just get rid of the decimal by multiplying everything, I believe, by 10. So if I multiply both sides of the equation by 10, I'm no longer going to have a decimal. Okay, so this becomes 5 times 3x minus 2 is less than 11 minus 10 times that x plus 5. Okay, so then this is 15x minus 10 is less than 11 minus 10x plus 50. I'm going to combine my like terms on the right, and that gets me 61 minus 10x. And then I'm going to add 10x to both sides. So I get 25x minus 10 is less than 61. I'm going to add 10. I'm going to add 10. And I get 25x is less than 71. Well, guess what? I just noticed that I made a mistake again. I made a mistake right here. I'm going to back this up. I apologize. I made a mistake right here. Back it all the way up. And where do you think I made a mistake? Right here. Oh, and it's not plus 50, it's minus 50. So that changes the game a little bit. It's 11 minus 50. So I believe that is, what's 11 minus 50? 39, right? Yeah, 39. So 39, that's negative 39 minus 10x. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 10x here, and I'm going to add 10x here, and I get 25x minus 10 is less than negative 39. I'm going to add 10 to both sides, and I get 25x is less than negative 29. I'm dividing both sides by 25. So there I have it. And if I had to write it on a number line, it'd be something like negative 29 over 25 with an open circle going that way. Okay? Simple enough. All right. On this one, it says Alicia earned scores of 72, 86, and 84 on 3 of the 4 exams in her biology test or biology class. What score would Alicia need to earn on the 4th exam to have an average of at least 80? Now, there's a couple things on this that stand out. The word at least 80, it means it could be bigger or equal to 80. So we know what our equation is going to look like. Whatever her average is, it's got to be bigger than or equal to 80. Okay? So if you think about it, it's an average. Her average is 72 plus 86 plus 84 plus some unknown exam, and I'm going to divide that by 1, 2, 3, 4. And that would get me my average. So what I can do now is I need to combine, well, the first thing I can do is combine 72 plus 86 plus 84. What is 72 plus 86 plus 84? I believe that comes out to be 242 plus x over 4 has to be greater than or equal to 80. So then I want to get rid of that fraction, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 4. Okay. So I get 242 plus x is greater than or equal to 320. So I'm going to subtract 242 from 320. So x is greater than or equal to, so that I believe is x has to be greater than or equal to 78. So that means she has to get at least a 78% or higher on the next test to be able to get a B in the class. Okay? This one, what you could do is the equation y equals 0.001x plus 0.40 can be determined the profit y in dollars of producing x items. How many items X must be purchased so the profit will be at least 3,940. So on this one, just to kind of set it up for you, and you can try to do the rest, is you can say, okay, 3,940 has to be at least that. So this has to be, the left side has to be less than or equal to 0.001x plus 0.40. Okay? So you can go ahead and see that you subtract by 0.4 and you divide by 0.001x. So see what kind of answer you get. This may come up in class. Okay? So that concludes this one for this section. I'll see you soon. Thanks.